The Seton Catholic Sentinels soccer team opens the 4A playoffs on home turf right here at Michael Eubank Stadium against number 9 Lee Williams. The action coming to you live from the East Valley off the 202 in Chandler on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Pequeno. I'll be joined by the Dr. Adam Perry. So glad to have you with us. We're Coach William Baker and his crew. They understand it's win or go home. Last year, they lost in the playing game to league rival Mesquite, and this year the team feels it's capable of winning it all. The squad enters with a record of 9-5-2. They are battle-tested. They played a tremendously difficult schedule. They've earned the 8th seed. It's a group that scores by committee, led by sophomore Ella Bruning with 7 goals, and Barrett Padilla does the job between the pipes, allowing only 1 goal per game. Lee Williams looking to ruin the party. They're led by 8th-year head coach Chris Selby, who played his college ball at Mesa Community College, also coached at Lake Havasu City for the varsity squad there. The squad out of Kingman, the 9th seed at 11-6-1, 2-3-1 in the 4A Grand Canyon region, and senior Sophia Fattrell, one to watch with a team-high 32 goals. Simply dynamic. Coach Selby told me before this kick that she just has a knack of putting the ball in the net. So that's going to be paramount for Seton to lock her up and keep her under control. Ellie Davis with 14 goals, and senior Kylie Gano leads the charge as goalkeeper. Starting lineup for the Sentinels. Barrett Padilla will be between the pipes. Number 4, Ella Bruning will lead the charge out in front. Addie Driscoll, number 6. Kylie Monks, number 7. Addie Morris, number 9. Caitlin Davey, number 11. Sienna Buhold, number 12. Lauren Fallman, number 14. Emma Stoft, number 20. Ava Peth, and midfielder Riley Kelly. A group that is ready to make a run. Last time out, a good outing as they beat Mesquite by the count of 4-0. The squad got goals from Bruning, Madeline Breen, Megan Garby, and Riley Kelly. Sentinels average almost 3 goals a game. They're going to have to score multiple goals in this one because the Volunteers, they're flat out dangerous. They've scored 70 goals and have allowed only 30. They're putting up almost 4 goals a game, and they're not afraid of going on the road. They are 6-2 away from home turf, and this game is starting 10 minutes later because Lee Williams, their bus, had a little bit of a delay, so here they are. Kickoff is set for 6:10. Their starting lineup. Number 2, playing some defense in midfield, Isabel Wilcox. Of course, we've talked in great deal. Sophia Fattrell, the forward, the senior, number 3, on her way to play at Yavapai College. Number 7, the midfielder, Gwen Otero. Number 8, Maya Davis, a defender. Number 9, Victoria Castaneda, the midfielder. Number 10, Allison Wilcox, midfielder forward. Number 14, Ellie Davis. Once again, she is also dangerous. 14 goals for the sophomore this season. Kylie Gano, number 15, between the pipes. She'll play collegiately at Mesa Community College right here in the Valley. Number 16, defender, Abby Harveston, a defender. Number 18, Olivia Stubbs. And number 20, Mariah Klauser. So here we go. Both teams, of course, Seton decked out in the red, and you've got Lee Williams on the other side. Now, the last time these squads played, it's been a while. Last time they played was in the 2021 season with Seton losing at home 1-0. The winner of this matchup will face the winner of number 16 Mojave and top-ranked Flagstaff on Saturday at noon at the higher seed. And also in action today, Mojave and Flagstaff. Flagstaff won that game by the count of 2-1. Canyon del Oro's taking on Arizona College Prep. Eastmark is facing South Point Catholic. Douglas and Prescott are going at it. Saguaro and Micah Mountain. Paradise Honors and Arcadia American Leadership Academy, Queen Creek, and Walden Grove also going at it at 6 p.m. So the Desert Sky well represented with Saguaro, Arcadia, and Seton all looking to make their marks in this first round of the playoffs. We bring in the doctor, Adam Perry, fresh in. And Doc, this is what it's all about for Seton. After losing in a playing game last year, this team felt it should have went farther last year, and now here they are a year later. They played a tough schedule. They're playing on home turf, and they're taking on a team that is very dynamic in Lee Williams. But the bottom line, Seton has not lost at home this season. It's all about taking care of home turf.
Yeah, absolutely. Good crowd on hand today here. And Joe, you mentioned they have a tough matchup today, but at the end of the day, they haven't lost at home yet this season, and they've got the crowd behind them.
And that is a huge factor for Seton because they didn't have to hop in a bus and travel across the universe like Lee Williams did, and they're right here in the comforts of their home, and here they are. And when we talk about Lee Williams, this is a squad under Chris Selby, has never won a state title, and a couple years ago, or actually just last year, they made it to the semifinals and lost to eventual state champion South Point Catholic 2-0. So this is a team that's battle-tested. They've been in the playoffs just like Seton. They're not afraid to go on the road. They've played a tough schedule. One mutual team they faced, Seton lost to number 1 Flagstaff 4-2. That was a very close game, talking to William Baker, the head coach of Seton, about that matchup. And Lee Williams lost to Flagstaff 4-3. So these are very, very similar teams. Coach Selby was talking about Seton, how solid they are and up and down the lineup. So we're going to take a short moment for the school prayer and the national anthem.
Perform to the best of their abilities and keep them free from injury. St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, pray for us. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem.
And we are moments away from kicking off this first round 4A playoff matchup between the 8th-seeded Sentinels and number 9 Lee Williams. Busy week on campus. Sentinels women last night won their basketball open playoff matchup against Buckeye Union, 60-31. They will take on Sunrise Mountain, the 21 seed, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. The doctor and I will be over at John J. McMahon Gym. Of course, Friday, Carter AB and the men's squad will be on the road taking on Bradshaw Mountain. Those squads had met twice in the regular season, splitting a pair, and now the third time is the charm. It's the old adage, Doc, win or go home.
Yeah, and that's the one that counts, really.
Yes, and for the ladies right here, this is a team that, and as we welcome our good buddy, Grant Wagner is dialed in, the former Seton Catholic coach. Grant, you are missed and you are loved, my friend, in Utah. And your perspective on this one will be given throughout via text, or maybe we at some point might be able to even dial you in. This is a Seton team that started its upward ascension, courtesy of Grant Wagner building this team, and here they are with William Baker, 9-5-2, and their schedule action-packed. They lost to playoff-bound teams. If you look at their record, 9-5-2, just about every one of those teams are in the playoffs. One of those losses is to Desert Mountain that plays in a higher conference. So this is a team that has prepared for this moment. Yeah. And they understand, and I hope they understand collectively, that the playoffs are a different animal, where, especially in soccer, and it's just like football, just like basketball, it has to be a relentless pursuit for both halves. And one split-second delay, one split-second lack of energy and focus could be the difference in a soccer game. I mean, we've seen this throughout, Doc, in soccer, where a team can dominate for 78 minutes, but it can come down to that final two where a lack of focus, determination, effort, commitment, and a game could be lost. And Seton has prepared for this. They've had a great playoff run a couple years ago where they eventually lost to Walden Groves in the quarters last year, maybe underperformed against Mesquite, losing in that playing game, and one in which you talked to Riley Kelly and the rest of those young ladies, and they felt that that was a game they gave away. So now here they are, a year later, with a slew of talent, a mixture of upperclassmen like Riley Kelly, and then you got youngsters like Ella Bruning and Addie Driscoll, and with a mixture of Kylie Monks and Addie Morris, the seniors on the roster. They are built. Got a combination of veteran leadership and young blood as well. So if Seton's going to make a deep postseason run, Doc, this is the year to do it.
Absolutely. And here's a fast break attempt right now.
Little
shot is on, and it's in.
And that is in, and Seton strikes first on the pooch. And the pooch is oh so good. And that gets the fan base going. Seton delivers on the pooch shot. Addie Driscoll on the breakaway. And just like that, Seton is on the scoreboard. And Doc, it was paramount for Seton to come out and strike the first blow, and they do just that in the opening minutes in the first 44 seconds.
Yeah, and that's great for the Sentinels. That's a hello punch to the mouth, and hopefully they can ride this one out with the momentum they just gained and build upon it now.
So a great start for Willie Baker's team. And Baker knows that for his back line, containing Sophia Fottrell is paramount, Doc. A 5'4" senior on her way to play at Yavapai College. 32 goals on the season.
Wow, that's tremendous. So definitely one of the points of interest for the Sentinels here tonight on defense.
So a corner opportunity for Lee Williams in the corner. This one stroked right in the middle and taking away for a brief second. Lee Williams gets the ball back, and now it's peppered to the corner and is right in the box, and Seton clears it out, and a good point of focus by Seton early on that defensive attacking back, and that's paramount. Right off the bat, Lee Williams didn't get the corner kick they wanted, didn't go deep enough into the box, but Seton not standing around, going after the leather, and being committed defensively to be aggressive. And this is what it's all about on the attacking back, Doc. You got to put a body on a body, attack, attack, attack. No room, no space. So we are just underway, and Seton with a 1-0 lead. Good crowd on hand. Breck Smith, the former Sentinel, in the crowd. So we've got a former coach watching this one, and Lee Williams on the other end. Shot across, and that is going to go out of bounds. And a good effort by Lee Williams coming out and attacking and putting some pressure on that attacking back line of Seton. And on the shot, number 14, Ellie Davis, who has 14 goals on the season. So it's not just about Sophia Fottrell. This is a team that Davis has got 14 goals. They have numerous athletes on their team with 2 or more goals, so they are well skilled. And this is a team, Doc, last year. Once again, Seton making some noise, and that is secured by Lee Williams. This is a team that lost in the semifinals to eventual champion South Point Catholic, so they are battle tested. They feel that if it wasn't for South Point Catholic, they might have hoisted the gold ball on numerous occasions. So here they are. They're not afraid of this zip code. They're not afraid of this destination. And even though it's a long bus ride here, they are prepared and amped for this moment. Chris Selby told me he feels that his team should have got a higher seed. He felt they lost a couple games in the point of the season. A loss to Mingus really hurt them, and one that they felt the focus just wasn't tight enough, and that cost them in the course of rankings and standings, and now here they are on the road. But Lee Williams is a team, they played Flagstaff tough. The 1 seed, and that is knocked across, and almost a great centering pass, and out in front, Seton almost with another great attacking point-blank look. So Lee Williams comes in prepared, and Seton, under Coach William Baker, told me his young ladies had a great week of practice, and they are here. They are amped up and ready to go. And this is exciting times for this team. Corner kick opportunity. Good shot across and out in front. And Lee Williams gets a breather, but Riley Kelly's trying to track it down, and Kelly bumping bodies. And that is what Riley Kelly does, and that was good effort by Lee Williams on the other side. Maya Davis, stride for stride with Riley Kelly. A good battle as Seton will go back on offense, and they work the attacking back to get the ball up that left side. So big thing. Willie Baker talked about keeping Fottrell in check, coming out fast, and Chris Selby and his team, they want to dictate play and come out fast as well. So far, everything in Seton's advantage, and that's a boot that is secured. And I stand corrected. That is Mariah Klauser in goal keep for Lee Williams. Kylie Gano also plays goal keep. She's also a defender on the team. So she's on that attacking back. She is number 15, and you've got Klauser, who's between the pipes and getting tested early by Seton. So this is an exciting time. Seton avoided having to play a playing game, and that was paramount, Doc, because that's just one extra game. That's one extra game of fatigue they didn't have to go through and battle through, and now here they are taking on a worthy opponent. And of course, the winner will go on to face top-ranked Flagstaff on Saturday. And for Seton, this is a team that, if they're locked in, they can beat anyone. It's ultimately bringing the A effort and going out there as this one's knocked across, and centering pass just out wide, and just another good effort by Seton on the shot. Sienna Bullhold was right there, but another good look for the Sentinels, and making Hauser work immediately between the pipes. So make that Olivia Stubbs, I should say, between the pipes. So Sentinels with a 1-0 lead. Action at midfield. So far, Lee Williams kept in check, and now an opportunity as Davis coming up. Makes one move, centering pass, and now it's going to be tracked down, body on body. And great work by Riley Kelly. You got to love her positioning.
Yeah.
She felt the offensive player coming behind and just shielded her body like a wall of solitude right there, and just framed it up and prevented any kind of offensive motion by the opposing offensive player. So the Sentinels coming out, and a good lead pass. Shot is up, and that is up and over. What a tremendous shot by Kylie Monks. Ripped it over, but you got to love the effort, Doc. I mean, Seton now with 3 shots on goal.
Absolutely.
With a 1-goal lead, and they are setting the tone early in this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This matchup has definitely lived up to the hype so far. This is definitely an even matchup, but as you mentioned, Joe, Seton just the more aggressive offensive team so far in this one.
Absolutely. Talking to Grant Wagner, he says this is a very winnable game. Coach Baker has done a great job. He looks for Seton to press in the middle, third, continue being opportunistic in the final third as well. So Grant Wagner giving us his tremendous insights from across the border in Utah. And Riley Kelly, once again, you can't stop her. You can only hope to slow her down. And Riley, once again, try to get her to go to Chandler Gilbert. Instead, she's signed to play for Scottsdale Community College. And that's going to be a tremendous addition for the Artichokes, who really have a good soccer program and are building something special in Scott Smith over Chandler Gilbert is doing the same. A 1-0 Seton lead. Controlling the ball at midfield. Good move. Bullhold. And then taken away. Davis and Kylie Gano in that middle. Right side. Emma Stoft. Stoft with an opportunity around the end. Shoots it up. And closed in by Olivia Stubbs in goal keep. So Emma Stoft making some noise with a shot from the right side. And that was a great move, Doc. She split a couple defenders and got the shot off. And I love the aggressiveness. Look, just because you've got 2 defenders in front of you doesn't mean you can't get by them and you can't get around them or you can't go through them. You have to feel you are the better player and you're going to win that matchup. That's the big thing about soccer. Look, it's mano-y-mano most of the time. And you got to feel the will and the skill that you can beat that person in front of you. And right now, Seton is doing just that. So far, Sophia Fottrell has been kept in check. That's been a point of emphasis for Seton. And right now, the shots are in favor of Seton on goal. Bullhold was coming fast, so it's going to be taken in play by Kylie Gano. Once again, Gano has played some goalkeep this year, a defender, tall, big body. And Riley Kelly will track that down and works that in the middle of the field. And now Ellie Davis working it over to Victoria Castaneda. And Seton has the possession. So as scripted, this game started 10 minutes late. Lee Williams, their bus, ran a little late. Sometimes when you're coming from multiple zip codes in the different part of the state, life can get in the way.
Yeah, a lot of traffic.
Willie Baker said, you know what? We'll give you 10 minutes to kind of loosen up and decompress and find the stadium and find your bearings, and here we are. Once again, these teams played in 2021, and Grant Wagner was the coach in that one with Seton losing at home 1-0, and love to get Grant's thoughts on that when he gets a moment, and we'll hear from Grant via text throughout this one. Good crowd on hand. Seton well represented, the fan base here, the parents, the student bodies. And I want to say a special shout out to some of my new friends, some youngsters, Piper, Emily, and Isabella Probst, the sisters of Ella Probst. And these are, their average age is like 6, 5, and 4, just the cutest little girls here. And being that I'm a father of 2 daughters, I love the young ladies that support women's athletics. So they were so cute seeing their faces on the way in.
Very nice.
How about the move in the open field? Opportunity for Seton, the shot right into the gloves of Olivia Stubbs. And Stubbs feeling the pressure of Seton. Seton just being a relentless force offensively. And a nice knock by Addie Driscoll. So right now the shots on goal are piling up. And Doc, as good as Seton has looked, and another opportunity, and they call an offsides. And
just barely.
Sienna Bullhold was on her way. Right now, shots on goal for Seton just piling up. But in a game so close like this, you want to get that second goal. You want to get that breathing room.
Yeah, definitely take some pressure off your players and just really afford yourself a a little bit of breathing room, as you mentioned, because throughout the course of a soccer game, especially one in the playoffs, you never know what can happen in the split second. The other team can have a drive and put up a goal and tie this thing up.
And that is knocked out of bounds, and Riley Kelly will throw this one in. Kelly and the Sentinels, as we kind of peruse their stats, and Doc, we kind of talk about this team. They score by committee. And as we look at the team, Ella Bruning with 7 goals, Addie Driscoll with 6, Kylie Monks with 4, Addie Morris with 3, Maddie Breen with 3, Emma Stoft with 4. How about Ava Peth, a junior, with 5? So they've got multiple players that can put the ball in net, and that's a great thing for Seton, is not to rely on one person so much like Lee Williams. And I'm not saying that is the case. They have multiple players, but Sophia Fatro is so good with her 30-plus goals, and they have multiple players in their lineup. But look, they don't count on that one person to guide the ship when it's sinking, right? Seton can throw multiple bodies and have an individual light the nets up at any given point, and that's a good thing for the team.
Absolutely.
We are 15 minutes into this one, and Seton with a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Addie Driscoll, and a little pooch shot earlier, beating Olivia Stubbs, the freshman goalkeeper. So glad you can have us in your living rooms or on your computer screen right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Paulo Hutchison, the man of multiple cameras on the live stream right here at Michael Eubanks Stadium. Gorgeous night for soccer. Chamber of Commerce weather. This is why we live in Arizona. This is like if you're going to the Hallmark store and you're looking for a postcard, just take a picture of this scenario right here and send it to Grant Wagner over in Utah, and he would just post it right on his desk and love it, because this is what this weather is all about. Just gorgeous, not cold. We're getting over that bad kind of weather we saw for the last 2 weeks, where it was 40 and nasty and rainy and windy. We're getting some sunshine, some warmer temperatures in the afternoon. And no, I was never a meteorologist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. So here we are, Seton with a 1-0 lead, 16 minutes in. The battle at midfield ensuing between these two teams. Sentinels know how dangerous this Lee Williams team is, a squad that put up 70 goals on the year, Doc. I mean, that is a lot of firepower right there. And Seton played a tremendously tough schedule. If you kind of look at the playoff brackets, Arizona College Prep they played in the playoffs, Saguaro in the playoffs, Arcadia in the playoffs. So this is a team that has gone through the gauntlet of the season. They are battle-tested, and they get the opportunity to advance right on home turf. And Doc, the luxury of playing that home game.
Yeah, it's a big
paramount.
Deal. It's a big deal.
Sienna Bullhold in the middle of the field. And she'll knock it back down. Emma Stoft kind of surveying the field. Work to that right side. Riley Kelly in that middle. Emma Stoft working it up. Stoft over to Kelly. Riley not afraid. Turning the corner. Shot, and that is briefly knocked, and Kelly giving chase with the defender. And Riley Kelly doing what she does, works a throw-in opportunity. And the great thing about soccer as well, when you get that kind of effort right there, what does it do, Doc? As Seton will have a corner kick opportunity, they also control the clock. They control the time. So each possession they win is a little bit off that clock, which plays paramount. And the corner kick, and this one fired, and the shot over and just over. And once again, a great effort by Sienna Bullhold. And that was a great corner opportunity by Ava Peth, who just put it in a perfect position. Seton clinging to a 1-0 lead, and they've dominated the shots on goal. They just need a little bit more, a point-blank look or an opportunity to knock one in, but so far the shots on goal way in their favor. And Barrett Padilla right now, her parents are in attendance. And Barrett, I talked to her before this one. I said, hey, who's going to dominate this one? You are. Who's going to dominate on Saturday? You are.
Yeah.
So she's up for it, and that's a young lady.
Great.
Started her soccer career at Seton, was not a goalkeeper, and volunteered for the position under Grant Wagner, and she has grown to be a leader on this team, and got to applaud that kind of effort. That is the kind of player you want between the pipes, someone who says, I got this.
Yeah.
The weight of the world on my shoulders, bring it on.
Yep.
And Seton putting some more offensive pressure. A good battle in that corner. Body on body. Seton working it back. Trying to beat a defender. Addie working it across. And right there, Emma Stoff. Stoff, good move. Emma splitting a couple defenders. Emma Stoff. And knocked away by Olivia Stubbs. Kept alive. Buhold and knocks it over. And the battle is ensuing in the box yet again. Now it's Riley. Riley. And Lee Williams dodges another bullet for a split second.
Yeah, Seton right back on the pressure.
Shot is up, and that is
wow.
good. A bomb from long range. And a celebration ensuing for Seton. A long bomb.
Wow.
Just a tremendous shot. Kylie Monks from about 40 yards out. And Seton has doubled up Lee Williams 2-0.
Wow. And there's the breathing room they needed.
Kylie Monks. And Paulo Hutchison, who does the live
stream. It was
stream,
beyond the arc, so.
Feels that because of where she was on the field, that should be worth 3 points. Needless to say,
I agree.
Sentinels coming out with a fury. They've dominated the shots on goal. They now lead 2-0. They've got breathing room. And they've kept Lee Williams in check. And once again, Seton controlling the pace.
Wow. Here's another big opportunity almost.
Olivia Stubbs. And Stubbs feels like a duck at a shooting gallery, and she's just taking shots from all kinds of different angles.
Yeah. And this really is a testament to the strength of Seton's schedule. If you look at both of these teams' mutual opponent with Flagstaff, you know, you might have predicted that Lee Williams would be the sharpshooters on the pitch tonight, but so far it's been all Sentinels.
And when we look at the shots on goal, 5 different players with shots on goal.
Wow.
Addie Driscoll with the first goal, Kylie Monks with the second. So we talked about the consistency of this team up and down the lineup with different faces and different numbers being able to attack and put the ball in the net, and we're seeing that tonight, and that is a luxury for Willie Baker, who has been tutelaged by the great one, Grant Wagner, who coached his team and has built it up, and Willie Baker took over this year and has done a tremendous job with his team. The record 9-5-2, a third-place finish in the Desert Sky at 3-1-1, a top to bottom, a strong soccer conference. And they had to go through and play Arcadia. They had to play Saguaro. Played Arizona College Prep out of conference, one of the premier teams in 4A. So there was no let-up, Doc. Week to week, matchup to matchup. And the only game on their schedule in which they had a hiccup, they played Desert Mountain on the road. They lost 4-0. Of course, talked about Desert Mountain. And I want to say, as that one is pushed up the field, Riley Kelly, Sentinels, another shot on goal. And that is off the crossbar. Opportunity. Oh, goodness. And Olivia Stubbs secures it. And almost a opportunity for Seton to go up 3-0.
Wow. For a second, I thought that might have still bounced in, but.
And I want to say, going to give that shot opportunity to Addie Driscoll, if I'm correct on that, off the crossbar. So Seton just continuing to put pressure on. And I got to tell you, Doc, I've been very fortunate to call games for Chandler Gilbert, and I've seen Chandler Gilbert take on top-ranked Phoenix College. And anytime in that matchup, Phoenix College, the women and the men, so good, they were constantly putting pressure on. And Seton, at the point in this game, has Bullhold with an opportunity. Bullhold trying to split a couple defenders, and coming up and grabbing it was Olivia Stubbs. So right now, Seton at a point in this game where they're feeling so good that they're controlling the tempo that we might be seeing their attacking back playing at midfield to give them more opportunities to control the leather on the offensive end. That's how good they've been in this game. And if Seton can continue to play like this, they're going to have a good chance to potentially move on. But of course, a lot more game to be played here. We still have under 17 minutes left in this first half. All Seton. Seton. And this is something special to see. And Willie Baker, as Sienna Bullhold gets a breather, and what a half for Sienna. Has put constant pressure on.
Yeah. And, we just got confirmation from New York that my suspicions were correct. And, that Addie Driscoll shot off the crossbar actually did go beyond the line. And it should have been a goal under all technicalities. But, of course, there is no VAR here. And we don't have a chance to video review things with the ref on the field. But New York did confirm it for us that should have been a goal for Adeline Driscoll. But she'll have to settle for just one so far on the day.
We have a 4A girls update, courtesy of Grant Wagner. South Point up 2-0 over Eastmark. 5 minutes left in the first. Arcadia and Paradise Honors at halftime. As I'll check halfway through the first. Saguaro versus Micah Mountain at no score. 15 minutes in the first. ALA-QC at Walden Groves. No score in the first. So right now we're seeing a lot of tight defensive battles, and I think that's a statement, Doc, of teams bringing the physicality, not letting any space.
Yeah.
And and a lot of those play-in opportunities, you get some teams that have, they've earned those lower seeds, and in some cases, maybe just happy they got there, and, they get to that point, and they're still learning how to play in the playoffs. They might give up a little bit more breathing room, and the better offensive team will take advantage. And Davis trying to get by a Seton defender. Davis. And that is knocked across, and good pressure by Caitlin Davey in that back end. Davey working Davis hard, and that's exactly what you want to see as Barrett Padilla with the easy pickup. Seton at midfield, and how about the good move by Kylie Monks? Monks working the ball, working the leather up the field. Seton seems like on offense right now they have 10 players against the attacking back row of Lee Williams. Stoft reading the defense and working that corner. Doing a nice job. Stoft shoots it across. Right into a defender of Lee Williams. And Riley Kelly tracking it down. Kelly shoots it back in the middle. Seton trying to keep it alive. Under 14 minutes left in this first half. The Sentinels with a 2-0 lead. Goals by Addie Driscoll and Kylie Monks. Sentinels have dominated shots on goal. We'll call it 8-1, Doc.
Yeah.
Complete domination. But Lee Williams and Sophia Fattrell, it's kind of like that firecracker about to go off at any given point.
Yeah.
Got to keep the focus at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now the Seton defenders are doing a really good job of just not allowing any penetration. No one's getting, really that close to the keeper. And that's really been helping them just control things on the defensive side of the ball.
Cano with the throw in, and Riley Kelly worked it to the middle and booted out of bounds by Lee Williams. And right now, you hate to say this if you're a Lee Williams fan, and right now the girls, maybe that long bus ride, the lack of being on the field, being rushed onto the field,
Yeah.
they look a step slow. And right now offensively, they just don't have that next gear. And that's a good thing for Seton at the moment, but you just got to wonder if it's a matter of time before Lee Williams, they find their legs, they find their offensive game, and eventually give Barrett Padilla a run for her money between the pipes. This one, Boated. Opportunity. Work in that corner. Good work by Maddie Breen. Maddie Breen across. Shot right into a defender. Seton keeping it alive. Right into a defender yet again by Maddie Breen. And Stoft is there. Stoft.
Just relentless pressure.
And there is body contact with a defender for Lee Williams on the turf. And that's going to stop play here for a split second. And now the trainer is going to come out for Lee Williams, and they'll stop the clock with 11 minutes and 19 seconds left. So tremendous energy on this campus with Karen Self and her team picking up the victory in the open playoffs, the first round last night over Buckeye. And right now, Willie Baker and the girls loud and proud on home turf with a 2-0 lead over Lee Williams. More basketball tomorrow night as Sunrise Mountain, they knocked off Sunnyside last night. So Seton will host Sunrise Mountain from the West Valley tomorrow night. And then the boys looking to make some noise Friday at Bradshaw Mountain. A third meeting in the play-in opportunity. So hobbling off the field for Lee Williams and getting checked by the trainer is number 8, Maya Davis. And Maya, as we saw in a battle against Riley Kelly early, great closing speed, relentless effort, and that could be a huge loss for Lee Williams in this one.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, she might be one of the key assets of what's been holding the floodgates back for the Sentinels.
A 2-0 Sentinels lead. And as we kind of look at the Sentinels season, they open with a 6-1 win at Eastmark. Eastmark also in the postseason. A 2-0 victory over Thunderbird. A victory over ALA 2-1. A loss to Prescott 1-0 at Prescott. Prescott also in the playoffs. A tie against Red Mountain. A victory over Mingus. A victory looks like a forfeit against Thatcher. A loss 4-0 to Desert Mountain. A win against ALA Gilbert North 2-0. Then 3 consecutive losses, all against playoff teams. Arizona College Prep 4-2, Flagstaff 4-2, Saguaro 4-3. They bounce back. 11-0 victory over Marcos, 9-0 over St. Mary's. They tied Arcadia, double overtime.
Wow.
So Arcadia also in the postseason, and then they finished strong with the 4-0 victory over Mesquite. And that is the Sentinels season in a nutshell. On the other end, some physicality.
Yeah,
And
good slide
dropped
tackle.
on the turf. Ellie Davis in a battle on that back row. And the Sentinels answer. Caitlin Davey bringing the effort and energy, cutting off Davis, and it's going to be a throw-in opportunity for Lee Williams. They haven't had much opportunities in this first half whatsoever, Doc. Seton has done a really good job, and even in the prior corner kick opportunity, Seton gobbled it up, and you can see the speed on the outside and coming up nicely. Emma Stoft. Stoft works it on the other side of the field, and it's going to be a throw-in for Riley Kelly. And we are under 10 minutes left, a first half that has simply flown by. And if you're a Seton fan out there, you are happy with the results. Throw in by Megan Garby. Garby scored in the 4-0 victory over Mesquite. A lot of goal scorers on this team, and that is something, if you're a head coach, you love to see. Whoever you put in has got the skill and the will to put the ball between the pipes. And right now, Lee Williams and Coach Chris Selby trying to find their offensive ingenuity to make some things happen. And Seton just having the answer. Kelly giving chase against a Lee Williams defender, and Riley with the slight nudge. We'll call that the excuse me, pardon me move.
Yeah, the Valentine's Day
Yeah.
shove with love.
The shove with love, Doc. You could not have said that better. Ellie Bruning, the leader in goals for Seton this year with 7. Only a sophomore. Remember last year when Ella scored her first goal, we interviewed her, and I think Riley Kelly scored in a game, and they were so excited, and that team has learned so much from last year. They came up short, and they'll be the first to admit it. They beat Mesquite late in the regular season. They owned them, and then they lost to them in the play-in game. And probably a game or two in the regular season they didn't show up for mentally. And, you know, soccer is one of those things. You can have the skill, but you've got to harness it the whole time. So we are under 8 minutes left in this first half. Seton with a throw-in with a 2-0 lead. Goals by Addie Driscoll and Kylie Monks. Just a phenomenal half. Driscoll, her 7th goal of the year, tied for the team lead, and Kylie Monks now with 5. So just a tremendous first half offensively for Seton. And now here comes Lee Williams. And this one is just pooched out of play as Ellie Davis once again trying to make some noise. But you can see the numbers, Doc. You see a lot of jerseys back there.
Yeah.
The numbers are in favor of Seton. And as long as that attacking back brings that kind of effort, they're going to have an opportunity no matter where they go, no matter what zip code they play in.
Yep.
So it's going to be a throw-in for Lee Williams. Knocked in the middle of the field, and Barrett Padilla coming out of the box. Dangerous move, and Barrett reads it like a champ. How about BP coming up big? And sometimes, you know, that's a move right there for a goaltender. It's a split-second decision. It's a live or dive move, and Barrett read it well, and she just went out there and owned it. And you have to applaud your goalie. Sometimes that goalie's got to lead that charge on the corner kick. And while others were standing around offensively for Lee Williams, Barrett went out there and owned that play. And Barrett, phenomenal year she's had as we see her between the pipes. 56 saves. She's allowing only a little over 1 goal per game, stuffed in that middle of the field. Lee Williams getting the ball back briefly and trying to make something happen in this final 6 minutes. So far, they have been kept in check by a relentless Sentinels offensive attack. And the attacking back row has been phenomenal. They've answered every charge. So far, Sophia Fottrell and her 30-plus goals has been a non-factor. And Willie Baker talked about his plan, and one of his plans was to have Ava Peth guard Fottrell this whole game, and so far it has paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the Sentinels are doing a really good job of just not letting Lee Williams set anything up. They're not letting him build any momentum on offense and set up any passing plays deep in Sentinel territory. There's just nothing there for him, and the Sentinels are pretty much shutting him out right now.
Sentinels doing a phenomenal job, and that is blistered from the outside. Riley Kelly right into the awaiting arms of Olivia Stubbs. So the Sentinels continuing to put on pressure. And now a battle on the other side of the field as Lee Williams trying to get loose.
Really trying there, but still just no breathing room from the Sentinels. They stay on the gas, and they have possession once again. Riley Kelly now up the near side of the pitch.
And Riley wins that battle, and that's what she does, and she points back the other way. And what does that allow Seton to do? Work the ball on the other side of the field. The defenders stay fresh, and Kelly just plants a Lee Williams player into the turf, and Lindsey Morris just felt the wrath of Riley Kelly. And you know what? That right there is why Seton and is the physicality. And look, soccer is a physical game, and sometimes you have to lay that lumber down. And I'm not talking playing dirty, just playing tough and physical. And Riley Kelly gives them that physical advantage. And we're seeing that on the back row as well. Caitlin Davies been back there working hard, and Davis is trying to work it. And now a tangle ensuing. And good work by Lauren Fallman battling Ellie Davis on that attacking position. And right now, Ellie Davis, she's coming up the field. She's got her hands on her head. She's gassed right now, and she's worked very hard. She has been kind of the offense for Lee Williams, and Fottrell's been kept in check. And right now you can see Davis in the middle of the field. She's trying to figure out what it's going to take to penetrate this Sentinels defense that has been so solid. And Barrett Padilla, a goaltender in the course of the year, Doc, she's only given up 1 goal per game.
Yeah.
So this is Sentinels unit that has really shown its ability, its dynamic play, not just offensively, but a determination on the back end as well. And worked Ava Peth just tracking it down, and Peth, and I love the effort. Now it's worked in the middle of the field. They're going to call that against Peth. But Peth working hard, and we're seeing all kinds of physicality by Seton, just a relentless effort. And this is, we've called several Seton games over the course of years, and this is one of the most determined efforts I've seen from the Sentinels, from top to bottom.
Absolutely, and they definitely came, prepared for playoffs today, and this is great to see from them. And, as we head deeper into this playoff run, I'm really excited to see where these girls are going to be headed.
Still a lot of time left in this one. By no means are we anointing Seton a victor in this game. There's still a whole half to go, and a couple change of possessions can easily change the course of this pitch. But in the meantime, Willie Baker and Sentinels Nation and all these great fans that are here, they are loving the results because offensively they set the tone. They got that paramount second goal, and then on the back end, can't say enough about Lauren Fallman, Caitlin Davey, and right now Barrett Padilla. Just break out the lawn chair and drink some lemonade because you're having an easy night between the pipes.
Just locked down.
So it's a good night for Seton so far as the throw-in goes to Emmy Stoft. Stoft in that middle of the field. Nice little pitch, and coming up and just denying the Seton attacker, Olivia Stubbs, and the freshman goalkeeper has been under a constant barrage throughout this one.
She's earning her experience, no doubt.
We're down to 1 minute left in this half, and the Sentinels looking to tack on one more. Working the ball in the middle. And Riley Kelly trying to track it down, and does just that. One defender to beat. Riley swings it across. Crossing pass. Stoft hits the turf. Battle in the middle of the field. Stoft is there. Shot is up and right into the arms of Olivia Stubbs. Another great offensive effort by Seton. And on the other side, Padilla rolls it up. Maddie Breen on that shot on goal just a moment ago. So the shots on goal have piled up, and Seton at the half goes into the locker room, and Billy Baker giving Riley Kelly a high five. He's pumped up, fist pump, and we got some members of the baseball team here and the family members excited. Sentinels leading and dominating this one at the half, Doc, 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this game has been all Sentinels from start to halftime at least, and I mean, they've looked relentless on offense. There's just not even for a second have they taken their foot off the gas, and defensively, I mean, they're just shutting things down before they happen. Right now, all I see on the pitch is just Sentinel soccer.
Sentinels with 10 shots on goal, call it,
wow,
to roughly 2 for Lee Williams. We'll take a short time out from Michael Eubanks Stadium. The Sentinels loud and proud in the playoff opener. They're the 8th seed taking on the 9th seed, Lee Williams, and right now the home team flexing and standing tall with a 2-0 lead. More to come from Michael Eubanks Stadium on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Davis, who makes a move, taking the ball away from a Seton defender, and Barrett Padilla has to come up, and that's going to be a opportunity for Lee Williams. And tracking it down, Mariah Klauser will have a corner kick, and this is an opportunity for Lee Williams to make some noise. They've been kept in check, and Lauren Fallman just lost her way in that last defensive possession. Now it's Klauser on the throw-in. Header right there, right back to Klauser. Klauser works it in the middle, and Seton does a nice job. Getting out, the knockover, and worked back up the other way was Kylie Gano. Second half just underway. 4 minutes in, Seton with a 2-0 lead. Mariah Klauser on the throw-in. Lee Williams coming in. They've won 3 straight. Emma Stoft. Little pooch. And right there is Olivia Stubbs. And soon enough, Grant Wagner will be dialing us up from across the border. Paul Hutchison, the man of multiple talents. He's got nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills, and the ability to dial in Grant Wagner from across the border.
Yeah, hey, listen.
You've got clothing, you're set. Endless amounts of water. And how about Stubbs coming up and knocking the ball away for a brief second. Sentinels just continuing to put pressure on, and that one is booted away, and Lee Williams throw an opportunity, and that's going to be Ellie Davis on the throw-in. And Davis has played well. She's been a force in this one. But she's been a quiet force on an island by herself. Seen collectively as kept Sophia Fatral, a 30-plus goal scorer, in check. And Sentinels working on that sidelines, and Lee Williams will have a throw-in chance with Klauser. And we welcome in across the border our good friend and former Seton coach Grant Wagner. And Grant, Sentinels with a 2-0 lead as we are now in the 7th minute of this second half. And your thoughts of what you've seen so far?
If you're going to come out big, this is the way to do it. Scoring that goal in the opening 2 minutes, fantastic. Following it up with the second goal was even more better for Seton. And so far, they've done everything right.
Okay, Grant, we can hear you now. You're coming in loud and clear. And how about the start for Seton? Getting goals right in the first 45 seconds by Addie Driscoll, and then Kylie Monks later in the half to tack on to make it 2-0. And just the quick start by Seton and to kind of set the tone in this one, Grant.
You know, in that first half, Maddie Schweinberg and I, we've been texting back and forth. And we talked about Driscoll's goal, and you know, was it luck, was it skill? And I just think what a fantastic awareness of Driscoll, where the goalie was, where the defenders was, and taking that first touch shot. Fantastic. It was such a beautiful goal by Driscoll. And then Monks to follow that up. Absolutely awesome.
And Riley Kelly just with the laser that goes wide left, once again putting pressure on the youngster between the pipes, Olivia Stubbs. And Grant, we kind of talk about Seton's season and 9-5-2 and basically, look, every game they played, they were playing playoff caliber teams, and there was no let up in their schedule. And so is Adam Perry, a good amount of Seton games. Well, what I am seeing is a lot of grit by this team. We're seeing a lot of different numbers and faces on making some noise with the shots on goal against the youngster between the pipes, Olivia Stubbs. But we're seeing the attacking back row, multiple defenders getting back. It's never a one-on-one opportunity. It's usually Ellie Davis with 4 red jerseys around her. I'm seeing a complete 11-player commitment in this match, and that speaks volumes about the mindset and determination of this team as they enter this postseason.
Absolutely. And you know, for Seton to be able to push this team on their heels, and this team has not been pushed on their heels very often this season, and so for Seton to be able to do it, I think it was a shock to Lee Williams, and I think their back line gave a lot of respect to Seton's attacking piece, and they've earned it so far.
And we are now in the final 30 minutes of this one, and Sentinels, as the referees trying to get things back going, and a throw-in for Lee Williams and a lot of red jerseys trying to control the leather. And Grant, Sentinels with a 2-0 lead. What do And just as we cue up Grant Wagner,
Thank you, Grant.
who calls it up, just a bomb for a goal.
Wow.
And that's what they needed, Joe.
And Grant, you're so familiar with Kylie, and here she is stepping up, 2 goals in this one, and your thoughts of her raising her game. But along the way, it seems like this whole Seton team has come here with a purpose and focus, and maybe really harnessing their best kind of determination in probably their longest playoff stretch.
Yeah, you know, again, when you have a team that believes, and furthermore, they know that they can actually compete and they can put forth their effort and conclude on these things. I mean, it just makes things so much easier for them to go out there and actually perform. And so I think that's what we're seeing. A lot of things coming to a point, a full season of hard work, dedication. It's paying off. And again, what a gorgeous goal by Kylie Monks. That third goal, it was a laser.
Yeah, and Grant, I mean, when you look at this Seton team, you've got multiple numbers, multiple faces, multiple jerseys that are making an impact offensively in this game. And, you know, on the other side, Sophia Fottrell, 30-plus goals. Then it's Ellie Davis with 14. Then they have a slew of youngsters with 2 goals or more. But for Seton to have so many different faces and they're all making an impact in this game, I mean, for Billy Baker, you just have to be glowing about the prospects of finishing this one strong and having the confidence to go on the road and beat number 1 Flagstaff.
Yeah, you know, obviously they put in the work. They've earned every single bit of this, and so it is really fun to sit here and just watch them perform, do what they do, and have them smiling and having a lot of fun doing it. I mean, it is just absolutely it's great for me to be on this side of it and watch this team flourish.
Yeah, and for you, Grant, how nice is it to, you know, you can enjoy this as a spectator instead of having the stress of being on that sidelines and wondering, okay, can we do enough to grind this one and get to the next round? But when you watch Willie Baker, and you know Billy so well, and, you know, he's very stoic, but very calm, but has a cool demeanor, and no question he wants to win. What do you think Billy has brought to this team that he maybe learned from you and maybe just kind of tinkered with and added his own flavor, his own mix to the team?
I think what you're seeing is a coach that's come into his own. There may have been one or two things that he was able to build on, but for the most part, what you see is completely what Coach Billy has been able to build with this program, and that's what he does a good job with. Gets a team to believe, they believe in themselves, and this is the byproduct of a great coaching environment. All props go to Coach Billy on this.
You know, on the other side, let's flip it to Coach Chris Selby and his team. They come in with 11 wins, and I kind of talked to him about that. He felt that, you know, they let a couple games get away in the course of the season. They get the 9th seed. They come on the road, and his team has been totally outplayed. And Grant, you know, all coaches, they've been in this situation on the other side where nothing has gone right for his team. And what is he feeling right now? And what do you think he has to do to try to produce some kind of offense now, trailing by 3 in this one?
Well, and that's kind of the hard part, right? Like, you're down 3-0. You can't put more in the back to be more defensive because you got to score. So now you're going to have to take a lot more opportunities and a lot more chances, putting numbers up top, putting more numbers in the midfield, which also means you're going to be countered. And when you have a team like Seton that's scoring, not quite at will, but they're creating a lot of opportunities, it's a double-edged sword.
And right now, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a player for Lee Williams, I mean, are you at that point? I mean, how deflating is it knowing that you've been totally dominated in this one, and they have. They have been simply dominated. This is a team that scored 70 goals, and Davis with an opportunity. Davis and getting checked, and what a great back-end effort by Lauren Thalman. And that is what I'm talking about right there, Grant. There was no give up on Lauren Thalman. Maybe in the past we might have saw a breakaway in the past by given up by a Seton defender, but Thalman was all in, 150 miles an hour, taking the good angle and denying Davis on that potential one-on-one opportunity.
Well, and you know, I think that's a thing that you can look at as far as progression, right? So when Lauren came to us her freshman year to how she's performing now, it's night and day difference. I mean, you have a kid here that, again, believes in herself, but she knows that she's skilled, and she's showing that she's skilled. Now she has that upper class leadership that's starting to come in to play. It's awesome.
And Riley Kelly working a couple defenders in the corner, and Riley on her way to play for the Artichokes. And we're bringing the doctor, Adam Perry. And Doc, please feel free to chime in to Grant Wagner. The knowledge, the mind, the wonder of Seton Catholic Soccer, who was the longtime coach of this program, and now he's across the border working in Utah. And Adam, what we're seeing is a complete effort by Seton here. And look, I thought this game was going to be a lot closer than it was, but I am so impressed by this team tonight. I am blown away how good they look.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. And you know, we were definitely predicting a different outcome based on their mutual opponent, Flagstaff, and you know, Flagstaff being that big number 1 seed, having played a better game against, or apologies, we saw Lee Williams play a better game against Flagstaff than the Sentinels did. And you know, looking at that, you would think that, oh, you know, this one's going to be a shootout. Lee Williams has so many more goals than the Sentinels, and you know, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, this is playoff soccer, and as soon as 2 teams step on the field, each game is its own entity.
And also, Doc, it's also we have to look at when we talk to Billy Baker about that loss against Flagstaff. That game was actually closer. They lost 4-2, but it was very close to the very end. So, you know, you look at both matchups. Lee Williams lost to Flagstaff 4-3. Seton lost to Flagstaff 4-2. But Grant, once again, you could chime in on this Seton schedule. I mean, it's basically every game they played was essentially against a playoff caliber opponent.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that Coach Billy and we had talked about at the tail end of last week. And 4A, 5A, and 6A, I look at all those scores. You can't determine what's going to happen off the score lines based off of regular season. And I think this postseason game is a good indication that you can't do that. But also, I think you're seeing 2 things here. that are pretty prevalent is you have a Seton team that's firing on all cylinders at the end of the season, and then you have a Lee Williams team that is starting to struggle here at the tail end of the season, which you don't want to see. So if both teams are at their peak, it's probably a closer game. But I still think the Seton girls would come out on top either way.
Grant, let me ask you, and by no means can we say or make any excuses, but for Lee Williams, look, their bus got here late. This game was supposed to start at 6 and start this to 10 after 6. When you play into that, when that becomes a factor for your team, when you're on a long bus ride and then there's factors on the road and you arrive late, you're not into your normal routine. How much did that play a factor into Lee Williams coming out in this one and coming out maybe a step slow?
It's a huge factor. It's a huge factor. It shouldn't be a huge factor, but it is because, well, they're youth athletes. They're teenage girls. It's, even with the teenage boys, it's this kind of a thing would absolutely have an impact on the mental state of their game and being ready. I mean, we have 10 minutes to warm up. To say that they're going to have a good game, that's pretty hard to say. But as time goes on, you learn to control what you can control. You can't control the bus being late, but you control your mental state and if you're mentally ready and checked in or not. Those things you can control. But again, at the high school level, how much of that is actually learned at this point? I feel bad for Lee Williams. 10 minutes to warm up, end of the season. If they end up losing this game, that's a horrible memory to, especially for those seniors to go out on.
Absolutely. A senior like Sophia Fatro, who's going to play college at Yavapai College with 30-plus goals, and talking to Coach Selby about her, saying, look, she has a knack for putting the ball between the pipes at those opportunities when they present themselves, and so far she's been kept in check. Billy Baker was going to put Ava Peth on her. Peth has been on her the whole game, and needs to say she's been locked down. And, I mean, what can you say about Seton locking down Sophia Fatro? Right now, she is a non-factor in this one.
When you have a player of her caliber, a lot of potential, a lot of success on the season, and then she gets shut down, it's massively impressive for Seton to be able to do that. But then it's also a mental game for Lee Williams when you have that kind of a caliber player who just can't perform like they're all used to her doing. It definitely plays an impact. So a lot of kudos goes to the Seton defense for shutting her down and doing a great job.
And another goal by Seton. Wow. Sienna lights it up, and it's a 4-0 Seton lead. The Sentinels continue the offensive onslaught. And Sienna does it with her family in the back row just below us. And now it's a 4-0 Seton advantage.
Joe, is that another underclassman coming up big on the season?
A freshman for Seton. Absolutely.
Wow.
That's something that you and I had talked about when I first came back to Seton, is the young talent that we had and were they going to play an impact on the team. And clearly, in these 3 years, underclassmen have made a pivotal impact on this squad.
And Grant, by the way, her first goal of the season. How about that? Right?
Love it. Gotta love it.
And coming up at just the opportune time. And right now, look, this is, I'm so happy for these young ladies because in the course of time, Grant, in our relationship of me covering your team, and that's always been a blessing because the young ladies and the young men have always been high caliber, and I could always feel the passion in the young ladies, and they felt that the program was on the rise and it was ascending, and collectively, maybe last year, Grant, how much do you think, and you were there, you were on that sideline, and you know the pain and hurt of losing to Mesquite in that playing game, and what do you think the young ladies, they took away from that maybe this year they know they can't take anything for granted and they have to give an extra effort this time around?
Well, that's the byproduct of the outcome. You have an outcome like what we did last year, and as bad as it was for those seniors to leave on that note, it benefited the players that are coming back to the game next year. And that's part of what we're seeing. They know not to take it for granted, and they're putting everything out there on the field. That's what you want to see from a team.
And Seton with a 4-0 lead, 17 minutes left. And right now, it's on the other side. Lee Williams trying to make some noise. Good move. And right there, good work on that attacking back row by Seton and Doc. Seton continues to have an answer for Lee Williams in every offensive move they make.
Yeah, and I mean, Lee Williams just has absolutely nowhere to go on offense. There's nothing to be set up. There's no breathing room. I mean, it's just a sentinel here, a sentinel there, and they're playing it perfectly.
And Grant, for these Lee Williams young ladies, and you hate to be in their mind right now, but it's like you're down 4-0, and you've got 16 minutes hoping for a miracle. I mean, what's the mindset for them right now as that pass sails wide and it gets away from Kaylee Sellers, the midfielder, a sophomore, and Seton now with a throw-in, and each second draws a little closer for their season to end. And what's going through their mind?
Well, I think what's going through their mind is season is over. You might have one or two seniors that are thinking, hey, it's still game time. There's still a possibility of coming back. It would be an absolute amazing comeback. But a 4-0 deficit, that's pretty hard to come back with about, 14 minutes left in the game. But you got to think, especially the underclassmen, maybe even some of the juniors, they're thinking game's over.
So Seton once again controlling the offensive possession, and they've done such a tremendous job as Stoft working in the middle of the field and launches one from about 30 yards out. And once again, Olivia Stubbs, the freshman goalkeeper, been under a barrage of Seton attackers all night long. And Doc, is this Seton team, they went through that tough stretch, but all the games they lost, Arcadia, they lost to Saguaro, they lost to Arizona College Prep. These are teams all in the postseason. So that 3-game stretch, it was tough to bear, tough for them to handle, but look, no question they learned from that, and that put them in a battle-minded test for the postseason.
Absolutely. There's no doubt that, those games were all a part of a bigger picture for Seton, and we're seeing that picture play itself out right now.
And Grant, when we look at the shot differential in this one, we're about 12-2 in favor of Seton. I mean, just the shot disparity and just the way the midfield has really controlled this game. And we talk about Riley Kelly and the rest of the midfielders and being so confident. I mean, Billy is so confident on that sidelines. He's got his attacking back playing the midfield in the course of offensive possessions. I mean, this is how well this team is playing right now. And then on the back end, how about Riley Kelly? Just a relentless effort toward the ball. and right, I mean, that was like a streak. She was like the Flash coming out of nowhere to deny the leather for Lee Williams, who looked like they might have a clean look on the offensive end. That was Dankia Adami, who was coming up the field, and Riley Kelly just comes out of nowhere. But, I mean, for Willie on that sideline to have that confidence, I mean, look, and I've called games for Chandler Gilbert. I've covered top-ranked Phoenix College, both on the men's and women's side. And in the course of those contests, those coaches were so confident he brought his attacking back at midfield. And Grant, when you can do that, walk me through the obvious advantage it gives an offensive team.
Well, when you have pivotal players that can play multiple positions, it definitely puts the other team at a disadvantage because you're so used of a star player playing in one position, but now all of a sudden they start getting moved and they start playing different positions. Now you have to, if they're really that big of a player, like a Riley Kelly or Kylie Monks or even an Addie Driscoll, now you have to change your viewpoint as a coach and even your game plan. And when you start to do that, things start to happen and they usually don't go in your favor.
So, Grant, and still, this one, by no means is this one, are we anointing Seton the victor? There's still 12 and change. Anything can happen. As Yogi Berra once said, it's not over till it's over. But let's say Seton goes on and they face Flagstaff. They lost there 4-2, and you were part of a loss just a couple years ago on the road at their place, and that one wasn't pretty, an 8-0 loss at Flagstaff. I know you remember that one well, because sometimes we cherish those great victories, but those ones that you lose, and you lose badly, those hurt, and they sting, and they stay with you even longer. Grant, talk about going up to Flagstaff, the altitude, and just the difference and the atmosphere, the weather, the long ride there, and what Seton's going to have to do, and of course the talent that they're going to face when they face Flagstaff, that yearly is one of the best programs in the state. What the whole atmosphere of going there, and what Seton's going to have to overcome, just not the atmospheric, but of course in Flagstaff, the opponent as well, to have an opportunity to win on Saturday and move on to the next round.
Well, I mean, it's everything that you just said, but I think this Seton team has gotten to a point where they're smart enough to understand and learn that those control what you can control. You can't control the long bus ride. You can't control the atmosphere, the weather. You can't control it. So control what you can control and be the master in that domain. And then also, when you have the Seton fans that are always traveling to those faraway games, and the parents are always there. They're so supportive. That goes in your favor, right? But you going up there with a team that you've been with all season long, you have that sisterhood, that camaraderie that's going to help propel you to the next level. And this isn't like a regular season game where, hey, we can go ahead and make a mistake here or there, you lose this game. We still have tomorrow. When they go up there in postseason, it's win or go home. So they don't have a chance to be one or two or three or four mistakes, right? So there's a lot of pressure, but I think they're ready for it.
Yeah, and as the late great Carl Weathers, a.k.a. Apollo Creed, once said to Rocky Balboa, there is no tomorrow. So as we are looking at Flagstaff, and I'm calling up their stats right now on the season, this is a Flagstaff team, 14-1, 7-0 in section play. They've scored 64 goals on the season. Home, they're undefeated, riding a tremendous winning streak. They won today. They beat Mojave 2-1. Now, Mojave, by the way, was a very lower seed. Mojave was the 16th seed. So that right there shows you Mojave brought an A game, right?
Yeah.
They brought an effort and determination. But look, each game is its own entity. You can't judge one outcome by the next outcome, and two teams and the opportunity, and up front, and Seton clears it. Another shot, and Barrett Padilla dials it up. BP with the big paws and secures it. And that keeps Lee Williams off the board, and the shutout is alive. So that being said, Grant, here is this Eagles team, ranked number 1, 14-1, 8-0 at home. Your thoughts of that team. You're familiar with the program. You're familiar with some of the personnel as we kind of venture on the roster, and I'm calling up some stats. Of course, Flagstaff is one of those programs they don't like to put stats on because they don't want people to know who's doing what, right? Okay, that's another.
Rightfully so.
That's another conversation itself. But they're led by great coach Savannah Berry, and Chris Barkwin's the assistant coach, and so this is a program that yearly is in the conversation. And give us kind of everything about that atmosphere, what it's like, and Seton's been up there a couple times. It would be actually kind of nice if Flagstaff actually played a regular season game down here, which that's a conversation itself as well, right, Grant? That's a sidebar conversation we could have off the phone. But needs to say, so that being said, for Seton to go up there, give us kind of the weather this time of year. It's going to be a Saturday. It's going to be noon, and you're traveling up, and there's going to be a temperature difference. Give us kind of the mindset of what it's going to be like on game day, noon, and that kickoff up in the high country.
I mean, for that kind of a game, a postseason game, if we're going up there, I would probably choose to leave pretty early so you have an extra hour or two to prep once you get there, right? But
Riley Kelly across, and that one just goes wide. Another great attacking sequence by Seton. And the shot just goes wide by Madeline Breen.
It's been great to see Seton continue to attack, and that's something I don't think Lee Williams really anticipated a whole lot of.
I mean, Grant, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I watched this performance tonight. This is the best I've ever seen a Seton soccer team look since I've covered this team.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some good performances, but this is just an overwhelming, dominating performance. This is like basically taking that team that thought, oh, we're going to win this game, right? And basically taking them in the backyard. It's like Michael Jordan playing me one-on-one in basketball and just schooling me and making me look so bad. And Lee Williams is a very good soccer program led by a very good coach, and Chris Selby in his 8th year played community college in Mesa, coached at Lake Havasu City, the varsity squad there, and he's always his team last year. Look, they lost in the semifinals to South Point Catholic. So this is a team that's been in this position. And, of course, we know how good South Point Catholic is on the men's and women's side. It's a factory down there, and not just in soccer, but just about every sport, right? You know, Wolfgang and the women's coach down there, they do a tremendous job. And they live as soon as that first pitch is up and running, and they're living for the season, and they're always in the conversation. But this Lee Williams team, they've been stonewalled today by a Seton team that has just really raised his opposition. It's level play today, and now another opportunity right into Barrett Padilla, and that one squeaks by, goes right through the wickets, and Flagstaff make that. Lee Williams is on the board as they get one squeaking through, and coming up on the goal as she treks up the field, and that is number 8 for Lee Williams, and that's Maya Davis. And Davis gets Lee Williams on the board. And still a good hand for Barrett Padilla from the fan base here, and because it took Lee Williams
75 minutes to
and then some.
Yeah, finally crack the goal, and you know that's good to see for Lee Williams. You know, they get to take a positive out of this game, and while they most likely won't be advancing, at least they'll head into the offseason with, you know, some kind of high spirit or high hope.
And there's still, you never know, there's still a lot of time left in this one, but Maya Davis gets Lee Williams on the board. Now makes it 4-1, and now they have the leather in the corner, and still for William Baker is on that sidelines, Grant, and you've been in this position. 4 and change doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're on that sidelines, is it not? Does it feel like an eternity?
It sucks. A lot of people say, oh, you know, it's hard to, it's just as hard to play the game as it is to coach, and I have to say respectfully, no, it's not. It's so much more difficult to coach because you can't physically impact the game at all, and so it's difficult.
Yeah, of course, and so you're just sitting there on the sidelines, and you're trying to think positive thoughts, and you're hoping the force of the universe works in your favor, and the soccer gods are shining bright on you, and good things continue to happen. But right now for Seton, they're under 4 minutes left, and they're in favor of a 4-1 lead, and you've got Riley Kelly in that back row, and now Billy is starting to work his bench in and keeping some bodies fresh. And so now here we are on a Wednesday. That game is not till Saturday. Give us kind of the mindset, Grant. You've been in this position. You've advanced to survive. For Billy and his team, what do you think is the practice regimen for this team the next couple days?
I think it's a lot of game planning. If there's game footage to watch, you watch that Thursday. You watch part of it on Friday. You game plan. You figure out who the top players are, how you're going to play against them, what the game plan is going to look like. And then you even start to go into who's your first, who's your second, who's your third substitutions into the game, and you have different scenarios written up. So when those scenarios do come about in the game, you don't have to sit there and try to guess on the sideline in real time. You already have it written down. You have it planned out. That's your game plan. So I think a lot of that happens with Coach Billy, and then just, again, letting the girls know, here's your opponent. Yes, you've seen them. We've seen them many, many times before. We kind of know what to expect for the most part. And again, it's postseason, so anything can happen, right? On the road, there's not a better victory than an on-the-road victory in postseason.
Yes, and give us the kind of mindset of that first 5 minutes, how important it is for Seton to start fast. And you have to figure, I mean, let's throw back at that game, Grant, in the playoff loss to Walden Grove a couple years ago where you had a goal go against you that might have been a questionable call that was deflating for the team, and maybe you could never recover from that goal. So for Seton to start fast, maybe get a quick score and to keep Flagstaff in check, give us kind of the mindset of what that first 5 minutes, if you're on that sidelines, if you're Billy, what you want to see from Seton in that first 5 minutes against the Eagles.
Well, you have to get to what got you to where you are today. For this team, it's high press. High press, control the midfield, opportunistic in the final third, and being sound defensively. Opening 10 minutes is going to be crucial. You have to execute your game plan almost perfectly in that opening 10, especially against a team like Flagstaff.
So, Grant, because I've got a computer in front of me, and last I checked, my fingers are quite nimble, I'm going to check the weather in Flagstaff on Saturday. That way we get kind of a feel, and you can kind of walk us through what games are like in that kind of weather. So Flagstaff on Saturday, accordingly to our good friends on weather.com, Saturday weather, it's going to be, as I close this right here, okay, Saturday weather, it's going to be partly cloudy. Looks like light winds. Grant, a high of 51. So, you know,
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's going to be at the peak at probably 12 o'clock. We're probably, 45 degrees or so, 43. And then probably by the time it's over, it reaches 51. So kind of give us that game day feel. And look, maybe I'm stretching here to talk about the weather, but it does play a factor when you're in that weather for a while, and kind of give us what it's like, those temperatures, you know, for Seton and Flagstaff that day. For Flagstaff, they're used to it, right? But for Seton.
Sure. But I mean, even for Seton, it's not that cold. I mean, you know, when they went up there in the regular season, it was probably high 20s, low 30s, snow on the ground. Saturday will be much more favorable for Seton, and that will kind of level out the game for them. So I honestly don't think it'll be that big of an issue for them. It'll be a little cold, yeah, sure, but it's manageable.
A big-time celebration as the Sentinels get the first-round win over Lee Williams by the count of 4-1. They start fast. Addie Driscoll, Kylie Monks again, then Sienna with her first goal. Sentinels jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and Doc, the attacking back row, you name it, Sentinels showed up in so many ways this evening.
Yeah, that was just calculated domination, Joe. I mean, the Sentinels game planned very appropriately for this contest, and they executed perfectly.
And now it's next up a trip up to Flagstaff and against the Eagles, a 12 o'clock kickoff. And as our good buddy Grant Wagner puts final touches on this one, Grant, your thoughts on this performance and the next round for the Sentinels taking on the Eagles, a 12 o'clock pitch Saturday up in the high country.
You know, again, they're operating on all cylinders. This is where you want your team to be. Yes, they had a goal against. It's not as sweet as a 4-0 victory. However, this is where they want to be. They had multiple goals tonight. They attacked very well. Defensively, they were sound. Midfield controlled the game. Bear Padilla is in the goal. She has everyone's back. You have the coaching staff that are right there in tune with everyone's needs. And again, they're doing everything that they need to be doing at this time of the season, and going up against a Flagstaff on Saturday. Honestly, I think it's quite fitting, especially when Seton pulls out the win. it'll be so savory for them.
Hey, sometimes the old adage, right, Grant, to be the best, you got to beat the best, and the Sentinels got that task right in front of them.
Absolutely. You can't be afraid to go up against the best in order to be the best. And this team's not afraid to go up against anybody. It's clear. It's evident.
And they've been priming themselves for this opportunity. You got to figure if the Sentinels, the way they started the postseason, they bring this kind of energy against the Eagles on Saturday, they're going to have a chance. And then, look, all of a sudden, if they knock off the Eagles, maybe all of a sudden from there in that semifinal round, well, then it's the next juggernaut they might potentially have to face, and that would be if in that matchup, if it works out to be if South Point knocks off Arizona College Prep, then it would be the Sentinels and South Point. And Grant, you and I talked early in the season about this team and maybe eventually matching up against South Point, but that would be another conversation for another time. And once again, we appreciate you dialing us up from Utah. That is Grant Wagner, the former soccer coach of the men's and women's program. And make no mistake, and for all the Sentinel soccer fans out there, Grant Wagner, he was the architect of this women's team, and he built this team, and they would not be in this position without Grant Wagner, who is now in Utah. And Grant, we miss you, we love you, and be safe, and we'll talk to you soon right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
That is Grant Wagner. And Doc, your final thoughts as Billy Baker and his team, they're talking right on that sidelines, and my goodness, so much to be proud of this evening.
Yeah, a whole lot to be proud of, a whole lot to be excited for. And, Joe, I cannot wait until we get the outcome of Saturday's contest.
Okay, we're going to take a short timeout right here from Michael Eubanks Stadium. Keep it locked and loaded. More to come. Well, that's going to wrap up our coverage from Michael Eubanks Stadium. The Sentinels with an impressive outing, knocking off Lee Williams by the count of 4-1, getting goals from Addie Driscoll, a couple from Kylie Monks, and then on the back end, the freshman Sienna Buhold coming up and scoring her first goal of the season. Barrett Padilla solid between the pipes. The back line defensively was fantastic. Now, a Saturday matchup on the road against number 1 Flagstaff, and we wish the ladies the best of luck. Of course, tomorrow night, more action from Seton Catholic over at John J. McMahon Gym. Karen Self and the Sentinels, the 5th seed in the open playoffs, will take on Sunrise Mountain, the 21st seed. They knocked off Sunnyside last night, 47-41. We'll have the action, Adam Perry and myself, from the gym right across the way on campus, with the live preview starting about 6:45 or so. In the meantime, for all the good people like Paulo Hutchison, all the great people in the athletic department, a great night at Michael Eubanks Stadium. The Sentinels, a 4-1 victory. They're on to round 2. Now it's time to upset the Eagles. Everyone take care and have a great night.